Happy Sunday, Meal Prep Live, ladies. Welcome. Come on in. Right. So today, as normal, we'll go through my menu, what I'm doing. I'm also going to give you a little bit of an update on where I am with my deficit, my first deficit and like that I've been able to carry out in 2 years. If anyone wants to understand the why behind that, I've got a podcast. Just DM me deficit podcast and I'll send it to you. I do Spotify, Apple, YouTube. I'm everywhere with the podcast, so you can have it on any platform you like. Anyway, I'll update all of that for you. I've just been chatting with a client. She sent me a recipe and she knows I love rice pudding. Love, love, love rice pudding. And she sent me a chocolate ginger rice pudding recipe and she's like, I'm going to give this a go. I'll let you know how it turns out. Just sounds absolutely amazing. Turns out really good. We'll pop it into the recipes inside my client portal. One of the things, and it got me thinking, so one of the things I want to talk about today is about, a lot of people, when they start, they're like, well, have you got a meal plan for me? Do you do meal plans for people? When they're looking to build a meal plan early on, they're kind of like, well, what should I eat? And it comes down to, what do you like? Where do you live? Because that impacts produce greatly. I'm very big on cook what's in season and cook what you love. If you want to create that body, that physique, that is also healthy, that you can sustain it, because if you don't have health underpinning all of this, being lean is actually not possible. The leaner you are, the more resilient and healthier that you have to be. So you need to be thinking about things. And it is, though I have a program or a mentorship or coaching, whatever you want to fucking call it, at the end of the day, this is an educational module that allows you to think and question around your own body, your own lifestyle, and what works for you. Because what works for me won't necessarily work for you. Now, I live in the tropics. Look at me, it's winter. Hello, I've got shorts on. short sleeves. And we're in the middle of winter. We'll get the occasional day where you need to rug up, but honestly, winter goes for about 4 weeks. You get about a week's worth in there of cold weather, and that is it. So I am not eating really like baked and slow cooker and really heavy style stews or anything. I'm not eating those. I love those, but that does not suit my climate. One, my house would just be an absolute furnace every time I cooked something like that, but that's not what you feel like when you're in heat and light all the time. So your body works with circadian rhythm. So I eat a lot of lighter foods, a lot of fresher foods. I love things like lime, coriander, tomato-based. If I'm doing Italian, more tomato-based and light style. I like a lot of fresh fruits for desserts, not things like puddings and heated. And it's partially my flavor profile as a person that I prefer, and partially it's because of where we live. Now, I've got ladies in the UK. Now, if I tried to get them to eat the way I eat, they probably wouldn't feel very satisfied, because in winter your body wants those heavier meals. Now, that doesn't mean more calories, that just means that it's a different style of cooking that lends to the environment that you're in and the types of foods that are available to you. So you can see here that even in just this part alone, chasing someone else's meal plan to replicate is only going to keep you where you are even more. So I know you're in the gym, I know you're working hard, or, ladies I work with, they're generally already in the gym 5-6 days a week, which is probably a little bit too much for most, but, in the gym all the time, they're really motivated, but they've just got this, but I can't get my body to change the way I want it to change. And there is no one answer. I'm sorry, when you get on Instagram and you hear, this is the one reason why you're not. No, it might be, might not be. But you've got to ask all the questions about what is your history? What's your health like? Where do you live? How does your life work? So right now I'm an empty nester, so it's just Dean and I. bulk prep for the entire week works. But I also know that bulk prep for someone who's still got a couple of teenagers at home is probably not going to work, and that's okay. But there are other methods that you could use to free up time. So one of the other methods that I use is, when I used to have all the kids in the house, would be double batch something. So on a Sunday night, I would cook, say, Mexican mince. I'd make a double batch, and then the next day, we would just reheat the second half of that, and that allowed me a night where I wasn't cooking or doing dishes or anything like that, and I could go to the gym. So I could get to the gym 3 or 4 days a week by doing that. So it's about applying. There's so much generic information out there, and you know what? None of it's wrong, unless it's coming from some fucking stupid influencer, and I'm sorry, you're very intelligent ladies. Anyone following me has got half a brain about them, and they can see the difference between, you know, an influencer lifting pink dumbbells and telling them that this supplement, you know, resolved my cortisol and I lost 35 kilos, which is bullshit. We know that. So, you know, coming from the perspective of there are many, many decent coaches out there that has so much information. You can Google it, you can chat GTP, you can jump on Instagram. But the point is you're trying to go, oh, there's the solution. And Instagram has a lot to be responsible, accountable for this, where you've got, you know, and ourselves, we've turned into, you know, if you don't get instant attention, that Instagram's about shock value. It's about, you know, saying you have the absolute answer that's going to apply to everyone. It just doesn't fucking work like that. And this is why you're stuck. You're taking all this advice that's generic and just applying it, but you don't know why you're applying it. You don't know how to apply it. You don't know when to adjust. And the biggest thing is, majority of women don't actually understand their starting point, their right now. What is your metabolic like? What are your health markers like? What's your current body fat? What's your current lean mass? And if you know those, what do you want it to be? Pick a look and then understand what sort of lean mass and body fat that is. Then you've got to fill that gap. Now, some ladies need to bring the body fat right down quite drastically and build the muscle. So they might be in a slight deficit right from the beginning. Then there might be some ladies that are more skinny fat that go, well, it's not actually a fat issue, it's a muscle issue, and we can do recomp. Some ladies cannot do recomp because they don't have a healthy body. So they've got to be at maintenance and build the muscle. So the scale might go up to begin with. There's all different things that can apply depending on your history and starting point and what you define as hot and sculpted. Hot is a feeling, sculpted is a look. Hot could be, you know, I feel great in my clothes. Hot could be when I get undressed and look in the mirror. I like what I see. Hot could be, I'm full of confidence now because I can go out and eat and go on holidays and not second guess and come home without putting all this weight on. That could be a hot feeling for you. You could feel hot walking into that boardroom to present because you know you look the part, and whether we like it or not, fit, healthy bodies actually tell a story of discipline, understanding, because it's not easy to get there. That you're willing to be gritty. It tells a picture, and people actually judge you on that, whether they realise they are or not. Fit, healthy people do better in business than those who don't care for themselves. So, you know, hot is your definition, and so is sculpted. I've got a lot of ladies that go, I don't need to look like I lift in the gym, but I would like a nice firm look. And I'd like my clothes to sit nicely and not bulge. Okay, so you're probably a higher body fat percentage, probably more around the 20-25%. Great, but you still got to have that muscle underneath. And then there are some ladies that go, no, I want to look like I lift. That's lean. You're going to have to be under 20%. Particularly in early stages, you know, the bodies that are holding 20% body fat and still look really sculpted and like they lift, they've got 5 years of building muscle underneath them at least. So you need to understand that muscle just grows at a certain rate and that's it. You know, there is a capping to it and it just takes time. But the underpinning thing is you've got a healthy body with a layer of muscle mass, and then you decide the body fat on top. So you need to define where you are. You need to define where you want to go and then understand the process of applying to fill that gap. And that gap is different for every single one of you, all right? So it's been different for me. I've been super lean and had to gain body fat because metabolically I was not healthy. I hit adrenal fatigue. Got a whole story on that. If you want it, let me know. There's a podcast. I'll send it to you. There's a whole history why I haven't been able to get back down to being as lean as I like to be. You've got to be metabolically resilient to be able to hold that leanness. All right. So, you know, if you're feeling like you can't make progress, or you're in the gym, you're eating healthy and you're going, I actually don't know when the scale goes up if that means it's muscle or not. I actually don't know if I'm building muscle. And the problem right here is it's never too late to start, okay? It's never, ever, ever too late to start. But I'm going to be a little bit controversial here and say once you hit 40, you don't have time to waste. It's getting harder to build muscle. You've got years of stress and probably under-eating or undernourishment or whatever it is that's accumulated that you probably have to undo before you can build that great body. You know, all of this stuff takes time, so it's never ever too late to start, but you don't have time to fuck around because it takes time anyway. If you spend the next say you're 45, and you spend the next year or 2 years fucking around to still get to the other side and go, okay, they said it would take 2 years and I still don't look like I wanna look. Well, you've just wasted 2 years trying to do it yourself. Now, I know you're a smart woman, but we've lost the ability to understand how to apply things to ourselves. And this is the underpinning principle of everything I do. Teach the woman to read her body. You know you need more protein's important, but everywhere on the internet, eat more protein, increase your protein. Increase it in comparison to what? Eat more in comparison to what? Now, if you're already in the gym and you already understand that protein's important, you're likely already eating enough protein. I know that there's a whole demographic out there that don't fucking understand protein and have got no understanding at all that they're under eating it. So yes, for them, they need to increase their protein. But maybe for you, because you keep getting told on Instagram, oh, eat more protein, that you just keep eating more protein, that's not going to build your muscle. And if you're now eating that much protein at the sacrifice of carbs, well, you need carbs to build muscle too. So this is where this generic information comes unstuck, because you're listening to it, you understand it because you are an intelligent woman, you're a driven woman, you know, you're the sort of person who goes out and finds information and applies, but all you're getting is generic information. You're not being shown how and when to apply it to you. I've actually got women that I'm reducing their protein because their protein is too high, and particularly in a deficit. And I know this is going to sound controversial because it's like, got to have lots of protein in a deficit, make sure it's really high. I've actually reduced protein in some of my ladies' deficits to allow for more carbs. Why? Because they're definitely on the higher end of the requirements of protein, and they're the sort of person that without that fuel and carbs, their performance in the gym gets hindered when they diet. I'm one of them, okay, but not everyone. I've got other ladies that are just killing it and getting PBs all the way through their deficits, and I'm like, oh my God, how do you do that? They're just super, super resilient, and there is more about recovery, and because they're pushing PBs and they feel really good on the higher protein, we can do that. But just saying your protein has to stay super high in a deficit, for who? In comparison to what? And these could be some of the things that are hindering you. If you keep your protein at 160 grams of protein and then slash all your carbs to go into a diet, and then you've got no energy to lift and your strength winds backwards, you're losing muscle mass. And that's the last thing you want to do. But are you the sort of person that needs to keep those carbs super high? I'm not a no carbs, low carbs person. You need carbs, but the reality is in a diet, you need to cut back on something. So what is it? What do you need to cut back for you? For your current point to get to the place that you want to go. Where are you now? Where do you want to go? That's where the gap is, that you need to be able to apply it to you. So I'm I'm getting ladies to test and measure things that work for them. There's obviously signals and signs that I'm looking for to change things, but I'm teaching the ladies, this is what I'm seeing. And when I see this, quite often if we do this, it works quite well. So you can go through a test and measure process and go, actually, I feel so much better on just 130 grams of protein rather than this 160, 170 I've been eating. And I'm getting more carbs in and I'm feeling better in the gym and I'm still building muscle. Fantastic. But that doesn't work for everyone. It can flip the other way as well. Someone can be on 120, 130 grams of protein pushing and it's just not quite working for them, or their hunger signals are really high. Well, they might be better on 150, 160 grams of protein. So it's not just body weight, because there's a big variation. General studies will tell you anywhere between 1.8 and 2.2. I've seen studies from 1.6 to 2.25. But is that for ideal body weight, where you want to be? Is that for current body weight? Is that for lean mass? You don't even know with which number, which per kilo you're working with. So that's just a very small example of what I am seeing. And I got thinking about this after my client Julianne shared me this rice pudding recipe, and I was like, I'll pop that up in the recipe section. And it just got me thinking, how many women are like, well, have you got recipes of what I should eat? You need to work out what feels good in your body. I can't eat wheat every day. I can have sourdough, like a true sourdough that's been broken down properly and made with organic wheat. I can have that once or twice a week. Anymore, my digestion totally slows down and I feel terrible and get inflamed, right? If I eat pasta, within 30 minutes I look like I'm pregnant. I've shared that before multiple times on how bloated my stomach looks, and I'm not exaggerating. I look 6 months pregnant. Now, if I picked that as a regular meal for a couple of weeks, imagine if I'm getting that much bloat, that's irritation, that's inflammation. Imagine what my gut would be like by the end of it. Not just the fact that it looks big, what's it doing internally? And I don't feel good, so I only eat it in the evening because I know, I get very lethargic. So I'll have it occasionally because I love it, but I don't make it my regular, because I get so bloated and I know that if I did that constantly it would irritate my gut. And I feel really tired, so I usually have it as an evening meal so I can go to bed and sleep. Then I wake up in the morning and I feel good again. So it's test and measuring these things that just make you feel really good. And when you feel good, your body is operating really well. And when you operate really well, your body goes, oh, we can afford to build that muscle. Muscle is expensive. It needs a lot of nutrients, a lot of calories, a lot of stimulation. So if you don't have the energy, the sleep, the nutrients going in, your body's not going to prioritize building muscle. Building muscle will never be a priority in your body if it is not got the underpinning foundation of health. So always health, then muscle, then just choose your body fat level is what it comes down to. But how do you as a person get there? And there are real telltale signs where you can adjust and test and measure to work out if it's good for your body or not. I've got some ladies that are scraping to meet 50 grams fat in their meals just because of their preference on the way they eat, and then some other ladies that are like, I'm really trying to keep it under 65 grams. So some ladies prefer for preference of menu, because if you love what you eat, you'll continue to eat it. Someone said to me the other day, one of my clients said, she said, I've just realised I don't like to eat the same thing every day. We're going to get her making more meal plans, changing it up more regularly. But I think if she gets a lot more adventurous with her food and gets out of the, what's bad, and starts thinking about what do I like and how can I make it work and how can I build a meal plan around that, she'll start loving what she eats. That lemon curd with the yogurt and sweetened condensed milk that I've been doing, oh my God, I'm so in love. I gotta check myself on that because I am in a deficit, and I could eat I sit down every night when I've had one and I just look at Dean and go, oh my God, that's so good, I could eat a whole other bowl. And he just looks at me because I got him to try some and he was like, ooh, no. the tardiness of the lemon was not for him. So if someone said to me, what's a really good indulgent dessert that I could have on a diet, I'd tell them that. Oh, that's what I eat, go for it. So instead, let's teach you about the building of a meal plan, the construction of macros, and start working out what you like and what works well for your body. Because not everyone is the same, and you've got to love what you eat, it's got to feel good in your body, and it's got to support your goals. So my mentorship is very, very, very much about teach you how to get there. We lay the foundation, and then once the foundation is, we do an establishment process. We go, what's your body fat now, what's your lean mass now, what's your weights, measurements, health markers, all of that. Okay, we do all of that and then go, where do you want to go? Okay, there's the gap. Now here is a set of macros from a calculator. They aren't always right either. What if you're metabolically downregulated and the calculator says this much? And then you eat it and you gain all this weight. You would just be disheartened. We do a test and measure process that establishes any tweaking that you need to do with those calories to fit your body. Also, those calculators require you to put in your energy output. So how active are you? Well, that's actually really subjective. So someone might go, oh, I'm really active. So for me, I choose active on my calculator. I've got one designed that fits really well for women, strength training, 40 plus. So it's macros that kind of lend to that. And it's a really good starting point. But even my calculator is still not for everyone. So I pick active, right? But I've got other ladies that come in and say, oh, well, I am strength training 4 days a week, 5 days a week, and I walk every day, so I'm active. But the intensity of my workouts are insane. And if you're just going in and you actually don't understand how to lift heavy, or you haven't got good form that's capping your performance, you're likely not active because the intensity of the training isn't there. You're likely one to pick more moderate. So it's subjective in someone's mind whether you're moderate, whether you're active. Okay, there are some kind of guidelines that you can use. How many times a week do you train? Do you have a standing job, a sitting job? Yeah, you can look at all of that, but at the end of the day, it is still a subjective measure that everyone measures differently. So you have to test and measure those calories against you. And so we do that as part of the establishment process. This process can take anywhere from 2 weeks to 4 weeks. If you get in, just get a meal plan and just be consistent for that first 2 to 4 weeks. Boom, you've got it. Then you can start going, I can stay here, I can recomp, I can deficit, I can reverse, I can build. They're all the different things that you can do. And now that you have your specific personalized macros, you do it by a percentage. Again, generic information. Cut your calories by 500 calories. Okay, well, if you're only surviving on 1700 because you're quite down-regulated, that means that they're telling you to eat 1200 calories. If you have to diet on 1200, and that is calories in, calories out, if you actually have to go as low as 1200 to move your weight, you are not ready to diet. You need to be responsible with dieting. You need to have a plan and a structure. You need to get in, get the job done as accurately as possible, and get out. So that also means what sort of food timing prevents the excessive feeling of cravings to keep you held there long enough so you can be adherent. Have you got a meal plan that you enjoy, that you're going to be able to stick to and have something to look forward to and be able to stay on plan? Did you prepare your body before you entered that deficit? And if you get into the deficit and you're not being strict, and Monday to Friday you're super, super strict, and then you go out on the weekends and you go, oh, but it's okay. You stress your body all week to refuel it on the weekend to go back into stress. You're actually not going to move the needle because you're coming out of the deficit every weekend, but you've applied the deficit stress all week. It's not good for your body, and you're going to fuck your metabolism more, can I just say? Yes, it's fixable, but your body will adapt and down-regulate from that stress. So I hope what you are hearing here is, even though I'm in the gym and eating healthy, I need more than that, and I need to understand what's good for me. There is no one simple solution, and you will not know what it is until you do an establishment phase and understand what your baseline is. All right, so have a think about that the next time you're seeing these generic posts. Even, you know, most women need to eat more. Okay, how much more? Where do you put that? Is that in protein? Because everyone keeps telling me I need more protein. Oh, I should be eating more and I need more protein. Great, now I'm going to eat, you know, I was eating 130 grams of protein. I'm going to make it 180 now because I need to eat more, and everyone says more protein. Well, that might not work for you. That might not be the place that you need to put those extra calories. Or you might be a person that's so down-regulated that if you eat more, you're just going to pack the weight on. You need a strategy to build those calories up to at least 2,000 before you start dieting. So lots of different things there, and I'm just not going to be the person on Instagram that stands here and tells you I have the one method that works for 40 women who are, you know, 40 plus women. This is what works, okay? Because it's not one method. It's taking your principles and listening to your body and applying it in the right order, in the right way. Most of these posts on Instagram are not wrong. It is about calories in and out. Your hormones can affect you and down-regulate you. Your metabolism can be broken, but it doesn't mean it can't be fixed. You know, there's so many different things here. Maybe you do need to eat more protein, but maybe you actually need to eat less and have more carbs. Maybe you don't need more food in general, you need to structure it better. Lots of different things that can be going wrong. So the best thing to do is assess where you are now. And if you want to understand where you are now and where you want to go, what that gap is, and what sort of a plan you would need to fill that gap that's going to be more appropriate for you, I do strategy calls. I do free strategy calls. So DM me strategy and we can book you in, and I'll help you understand where are you now, where do you want to go, what does that gap look like for you? Are you dieting straight away? Do you need maintenance? Do you need to just focus more on muscle building? What is your training like? Are you training too much? Are you training not enough? Is it your form? We get to look at all these things, and you get to get an understanding of what sort of a strategy would, with these generic information, how would you apply that to fill your gap? But we understand where you are now. First, where do you want to go? Let's fill that gap and give you some sort of direction so you stop wasting time, because once you've hit 40, you just don't have time anymore. Okay, it takes long enough to build a body. And honestly, 2 to 5 years to build a body, just depending on where you are, what you're doing, what sort of a look you want. You're looking at a minimum of 2 to 5 years. You do not have time to fuck around and guess anymore. You do not have time to guess about these generic principles and applying them to yourself randomly, thinking that that's going to work. All right? So I'll get off my little soapbox now. I've had my Sunday little rant that I have. Give you an update on my diet. So for those of you who don't know, I had adrenal fatigue, back injury, back surgery, blah, blah, blah. This is why it's taken me so long to get to a place where I can actually diet responsibly. I've got my metabolic health. I can train with intensity now, so I've improved my metabolic health from adrenal fatigue. I've brought my body back to strength markers and intensity from having back surgery, all right? And my life is allowing it right now. I'm not going on holiday and expecting to, or going away for weekends or celebrating fucking weddings without willing to compromise. Like I've got a slot of time in my life that suits, okay? So we need to diet responsibly. Metabolic health, strength, life, boom, apply. And that's what I'm doing now. So I have chosen a mini cut because all what I'm trying to do is get out of my in-between sizes. I'm actually really happy with my body. I just want more lean mass. That will always be my goal. I love progression. So I'm not unhappy with my body fat. It was about 19% when I started, just shy of that. And I just want to get that down a bit so I can fit into, because I've got 2 sets of clothes, right? 2 sizes, and I'm in the middle. They're too big on this one and too tight on this one. So I've chosen to go down a little bit more because I love that look. I'm healthy enough and I'll fit a set of clothes. So that is why I'm doing it. I've set myself up, I've got a good reason why, and now I'm applying. So I'm doing a mini deficit, and a mini cut is more aggressive, but it goes for a short amount of time. Cutting bigger doesn't necessarily work. All right, I spoke to another lady a couple of months back, and she was like, oh yeah, I was at 15% and I just automatically thought, oh, well, if you can diet, a moderate diet between 10 and 20%, she said, so then I went, oh, fuck it, I'll go 20 and make it move faster. And she said, and everything stopped. Brought it back up to 15% and it started again. Her body just didn't like that much of a cut at that point in time. She listened to her body, all right? So I know I can do a bigger cut. My body works better with a shorter period of time, and I don't have a large amount of body fat to lose, so it's appropriate. So I've got a 30% deficit. So I'm on about 1,650 calories from 2,350 is what I'm normally on. Yes, I'm down at 1,650, that's a 30% cut. Okay, but I'm only doing it for 6 weeks. Get in, get the fucking job done, and get the fuck out is what I'm doing. I don't want to prolong this. Any longer than that will not be good for me. You can go up to 8 weeks depending on how well your body's coping. But for me, I can't see that I'm going to need longer. I probably won't need longer. I don't think my body will survive longer either. So I've set it at 6 weeks. And then I'm also going to Perth, which I'm super excited about. I'm coming over, I'm meeting up with a couple of my clients plus an ex-client that I've never got to meet. She came in, Kirsten, amazing. Actually, I might post her results again today. She came in, did my process, did a build for about 6 months on top of all of that, getting herself all sorted, then did a 6-month build process, then did a cut. She wasn't, she didn't carry a lot of body fat. She just needed more muscle. So we pushed that, did a cut, and oh my God, looks jacked. And she's still maintaining that to today. And I don't think we've worked together for about 12 months. Anyway, I'm going to get to meet her as well in person, which is amazing. So I'm super excited about that. So I'm coming over to see family. We're scoping out a few different areas where we want to move out of Mackay, but we don't know if we want to go to Perth or Gold Coast or Thailand. Like, we've got all sorts of different ideas going on. So we're now taking some holidays and going to these places and looking at it from the perspective of not being on a holiday, but could we live a life here? So we're doing that so I don't want to be in the deficit when I go on holidays as well. That's just stupid trying to do a deficit that low when you're on holidays. You can do deficits on holidays. I wouldn't do a mini cut on a holiday. So that's what's happening. I have just completed 2 weeks. I did my check-in this morning. I'm down 2% body fat. My muscle mass my lean mass is holding at the moment, and I'm feeling okay. Oh, well, I say I'm feeling okay. Those 80 kilo RDLs kicked my ass yesterday, and I'd only just peaked at 80 kilos. So I might actually wind them back a little bit because it's the sheer weight that's dragging me down at the moment. So I'm going to move out of the 6 to 8 rep range. I'm going to reduce the weight just so it feels a little bit easier to move, but I'll do a few extra reps. I've got a 1 rep max calculator, so I can actually work out that, oh, my phone's there. I'm recording. I can't show you. I looked at it yesterday, and for 80 kilos for 6 reps, I worked out I can do 70 kilos for 12 reps. And still be moving the same 1 rep max. So that's what I'll do next time I go in. Just lighten the load to 70 kilos and aim for 12 reps instead. I think that for the deficit, that's going to be better for me, but I'm still applying the intensity, still working to failure, and I'm still meeting my 1 rep max. That is the best way to gauge if you're progressing, is your 1 rep max calculation. And I have an app for all my clients that they get to use in the gym for that. So that's really good. And that's what I used yesterday. So we'll be doing that. But I feel really good. I lowered my protein this time. I'm normally up at the 150, 160. But I know that for me, it's the energy going into the gym where I struggle the most in a deficit. Some people don't. I do. It's not the recovery end. It's having the energy in the gym when I diet. So I've brought my protein down to 130. It's still more than 2 grams per kilo of body weight because I'm about 62 kilos or something it was when I started, 62 and a half. So I've still got, plenty of protein there, but I've been able to keep my carbs higher, which means I've got more carbs going into the gym. I can keep that fueled. I haven't changed the amount of my training meal. I've reduced my other meals. So I've been able to keep the carbs in there in that training meal because I know it fuels me. I'm still getting a good breakfast in, all of that. So yeah, lost, I think I've lost 1.5 kilos. Anyway, the kilos don't really matter. I don't care about that. It's just holding muscle mass and bringing body fat percentage down is what I'm aiming for. So 2% body fat down. So I'm sitting at around the 17% now, and lean mass has held. So everything's really good. Got another 4 weeks to go. So my meal plan this week, things are really not changing a hell of a lot. I'm keeping breakfast, and just spoke to Dean. I said, right, lunches I'm just going to keep as is. If you want something else, you're going to have to sort it, because this is what I'm doing until we go to Perth. So we're still having soup, and I found something. For those of you who are in Australia. So I've been making pumpkin soup, ground turkey, which I've got on the go here at the moment. So I just fry up some ground turkey with salt, dried onion powder and garlic powder, and I just fry that off. Just got a couple of more packets here to go, so I just use a turkey breast, and so it's nice and light in the fat, and then I put some soup over the top of it, put it in the microwave and heat it. Dean adds Parmesan cheese. He can have extra meat, extra soup if he wants, because they're all separate portions and he can take what he needs, and it works for us while I'm dieting. But even though I've been making the soup, Woolies had these on special. And when I looked at it, it was going to cost the same to buy a pumpkin and tomatoes and all that stuff that goes into it to make sure I had a nice, clean, healthy soup as it was to buy these. And these literally have pumpkin, potato, onion, water and salt and vegetables. That's it. That's it. How good and clean is that? So this is the brand, super, super clean. Doesn't taste too bad. I'm going to be honest, I like my soup better. But you know what? Energy gets low in a deficit. So how can I make this easy? Voila, I'm now not making soup. Yay! So that's what we're having for the soup this week. There we go. That's the brand. Woolworths. I'm sure Coles would probably have it too. Anyway, so turkey, pumpkin soup, and I do need a few more carbs at lunch, so I've gone to apples and I just chop them up, put some cinnamon and vanilla, steam them, stew them on the stove, and I have some stewed apples after I've had my soup. Breakfast at the moment I have, I'm going to share something, a little trick. Breakfast at the moment is berries and Greek yogurt, and then the potato. For anyone who didn't see it, jump on my stories. I showed you how I did my potato, so I actually showed it. But essentially, I get a potato, I stab it, put it in the microwave for 3 minutes. It's about 100 gram potato for 3 minutes. Stab it, put it in the microwave. When it comes out, I get a peeler and I peel some slices off of a block of Parmesan, and I put a couple of slices on the bottom of the waffle maker, put the potato on, squash it down, open it again, put a little bit more on top. I'm using about 10 grams of Parmesan cheese. That's it. That's it. Sprinkle it with salt, put the waffle maker back down, and let the Parmesan go really nice and crispy. It's so good. So I'm having that at the moment with Greek yogurt and berries. So Greek yogurt and berries. I like to mash, I use frozen berries, thaw them in the microwave. I like to mash them up and fold it through the Greek yogurt, because Greek yogurt really is quite tart tasting. Now, when I'm not in a deficit, I have lots of honey to take away that tart flavour in the Greek yogurt. Adding vanilla can really help, so just use some vanilla essence. But a lot of women who are already in the gym, working hard, trying to eat clean and all that sort of stuff, I find they have a lot of artificial sweeteners and stuff to try and keep carbs super low. This isn't about keeping carbs low, but when you are diet, because again, you know, I eat the honeys and the fruits and the juices, and yes, sugar. I've made lemon orange curd today that has lots of sugar in it. Marmalade has lots of sugar in it. Sugar is not evil. It is just energy, is all it is, okay? And it's clean. So we're good there. But when we start adding things like stevia, it's been cut with another component, and that can be really gut irritating. Stevia was linked in one study as still raising your insulin because it's sweet. There's been back and forth about that. What I can tell you is the artificial sweeteners are not good. Steer clear of them, okay? They just wreck your fucking gut. I'm not even going to get into the cancer conversation, but at the end of the day, they wreck your gut. If you have one once in a while because maybe you went out for dinner and you had a Diet Coke just to keep within your calories, well, so fucking what? One Diet Coke every now and then is not going to kill you. But when you eat these, when you consume these artificial flavors all the time, if you've got gut issues, take a look at that, okay? Because it's not good for you. Then stevia is very, very rarely pure, and it has been linked previously with giving you insulin spikes unnecessarily. Insulin spikes are not a problem. It is meant to do that, but we don't want to artificially inflate it all the time by eating lots of stevia. Monk fruit. There's limited, I'll be honest, monk fruit, limited studies. This is the brand I use. I get it from iHerb. So if anyone wants a code for iHerb, just shoot me a message and I'll just say iHerb and I'll shoot you a code for it, or it's link in bio. I've got the link there as well. This one is Julian Bakery Pure Monk Fruit Sweetener. They do drops. The powder is great value. I've had this for so long. It's got a really long use by date on it. I don't know what it is anymore, but it's got a really long use by date on it. Oh, sticker's peeled off. I think it was 27 anyway. And it doesn't wreck my gut, but I don't have heaps of it. So each morning I put, I reckon, not even a 1/16 of a teaspoon, like such a small amount in my berries after they've thawed. I crush them, mix this through, then put my yogurt in, and it just adds some sweetness. So if you are a sweet person in a diet, don't wreck your gut with artificial sweeteners. Invest in some of this. It's a little bit pricey to buy initially, but I swear to God, when you're using, I'll show you how much I put on a teaspoon. And you don't want too much anyway, otherwise it gets that artificial sweetener flavour. Like, that's literally how much I'm putting in. Just that. But I'm not putting it in every meal, and I don't do this outside of a deficit. If I need sweetness, I use sweetness, maple syrup, honey, sugar, brown sugar, coconut sugar, date syrup, rice syrup. But there's so many different ways that you can sweeten without using artificial, and you should be able to do that if you're not in a diet. But I do use this one in a diet. I have no gut issues, but again, please, everything in moderation. As human beings, we seem to find something that is said to be good and take it to extremes. So that works really well without fucking up your gut, okay? So yeah, breakfast yogurt, berries, a little bit of monk fruit, the crispy potato with the Parmesan cheese. Then I have flat white during the day for morning tea with my carrot salad. I do drop the oil in a deficit. The oil you should keep in there if you've got gut issues. You shouldn't be dieting if you're got gut issues anyway. You need to resolve that first. Be responsible in your dieting. Love your body. Please, please be healthy before you diet. And if you have gut issues, it's not great to be dieting then. So resolve those first. So yes, I keep the oil, I take the oil out, but the oil is more around resetting gut bacteria, antifungal, antibacterial. Don't need that. So I just do my carrot salad with a bit of vinegar on top and my flat white for morning tea. Lunch is turkey breast, ground turkey breast, soup and stewed potatoes. Afternoon snack is, and I'm changing them up at the moment. So if I'm training, I do rice crackers with lemon. Well, last week was lemon curd. You would have seen me doing my lemon curd. Oh my God, I'm so in love with that. We got given these bush lemons from someone from Dean's work, Amanda. Thank you, Amanda, if you ever are watching this. I loved them. Send them my way anytime. So I made this lemon curd. It was a low-fat lemon curd. So rather than putting marmalade on, which I'd been doing, I used lemon curd. So rice cracker, lemon curd, and my homemade cottage cheese, which I just make at whatever time of the week that I need it, just to keep it fresh. It's like a 2-second job. It's so easy to do. So I just make that sometime during the week when, you know, I'm at home working. Yeah, so that's it for my adrenal cocktail. So orange juice, coconut water, salt, and I take that for training. That is my training meal. And the reason why I change it for a training day and a non-training day, when I train, I need a mix of starches and simple carbs, all right? Now, I did do a talk on this at one point. Can't remember where it is. If you want it, let me know and I'll find it. I think I spoke about it last week before. I'll share it with you anyway, why for me, I find starches and simple going into training feels much better. On a non-training day, I swapped out my rice crackers and cottage cheese. I used the curd. So instead of cottage cheese, I used Greek yogurt. And instead of the rice crackers, I added sweetened condensed milk. So I had the lemon curd, sweetened condensed milk, and the yogurt. Fold it through, and I fold it through. So when you put it in your mouth, you're getting all these pops of different flavors exploding in your mouth. It's just, oh my God, so good. Anyway, that's my afternoon snack. And then for training days, non-training days, and then dinner is whatever I've usually cooked. This week is Mexican mince. Dean said keep it simple, just do Mexican mince, which is great. I'm happy with that. I'll have some rice with it. I'll eat a lot less rice than him at the moment. And then I'll have a glass of vanilla milk or chocolate milk, just depending on how many calories I've got there. I haven't finalised my meal plan. I think I can put some chocolate sauce in there. So I make a chocolate sauce out of cocoa, honey and water, simmer it on the stove, keep it in a jar, and I just put 15 grams of that in 200 mils of milk and heat it up. If I don't have enough calories, I will drop that chocolate sauce, just put some vanilla essence and have a glass of milk. And I have that, I don't know, about half an hour before I go to bed. And then that's it. That's 1,650 calories. There's actually a lot. There's Dean in the background. It's actually a lot of food, and I'm not having any hunger issues. I'm ready to eat, but I'm not having any hunger issues. I'm training pretty well. Yes, I'm tired, and yes, it feels hard, but I'm training a lot better than what I normally do. So I'm really, really happy with the way things are going at the moment. And that's my meal plan this week. That's what I like, you know. And just to round back on what I was saying before, if you don't learn how to cook and learn what you like, you're never going to be able to sustain it. It's always going to be a course, a meal plan I followed. This is a lifestyle. Having a fit, healthy body, now regardless of what you determine as fit, some people determine fit and healthy as more lean than others. Be responsibly lean. You have to be healthy to be lean. But if you want that firm sculpted look, you've got to be healthy. And it's got to be a lifestyle. You've got to be able to implement all this sort of stuff. Make meal prepping, in whatever way you do it, a priority. Make meal planning a priority. Make going for a walk a priority. Like, I literally just live like this. And all of my friends just know now. So a lot of them will contact me and go, hey, I haven't caught up for ages. Do you want to go for a walk? Great. They don't say, do you want to go for a drink? They know I don't drink. A lot of my friends now don't drink much either. I mean, I don't not drink totally. I drink occasionally, but I'm not a regular drinker. And I will say my friend circle has shifted as I've been on this journey. And I started this 10 years ago, really, is where it all started. And yeah, it's just become a lifestyle now, and people just know that. They just understand that. No one bothers me about drinking anymore. No one goes, here, you know, do you want, or they might go, are you having a drink today, Lou? Yes or no? I give them my answer and they move on. You train them. It is difficult in the beginning, but you have to train people. Yeah, and now they just know that it's me, and I attract more people like that, more people that live that lifestyle. We had a set of friends which the only thing they wanted to do was drink. And if you went up there, you just got badgered and badgered and badgered. They lived out on a property, so it was a little bit of a drive, about a 20-minute drive out of town, and really big house, and it was beautiful. And they were really offended that we would never go up there and stay the night. Well, we don't have to stay the night because we don't drink, we drive home. Even if I had one or two, Dean's not drinking because he's only got one kidney, so he's not drinking at all anymore. He drinks non-alcoholic beers. And the relationship just fizzled out. We stopped getting invited to their dinners because because we didn't drink, because we wouldn't stay the night because we were too drunk to drive. So that phased out. And yeah, like I say, we attract more of those types of people that are just more interested in being fit and healthy and living an active lifestyle. You know, like Dean will go out and play golf with his friends and he loves his gel blasting. You know, that's not a, that's being active all the time, not just sitting around, oh, come over for a barbecue, overindulge in food and fucking drink. I'm past that shit as entertainment. Occasionally it's nice. Anyway, I'm just waffling now because it's quite early and I've finished my meal prep. I've just got the last bit of my turkey mince to do. But that's me for a Sunday. If any of this resonates with you, I mean, I say comment this word, comment that word. I mean, fuck, just send me a message and say, hey, got a question. I'm happy to answer. I'm always in my DMs chatting with people, so please reach out. If you are a 40+ woman who is in the gym and not getting the results you think you should be for the effort, you need to learn to apply all this generic information to your body, and I'm happy to help. Let's do a strategy call. You can book one, link in bio, or message me strategy. Enjoy your Sunday, people. Bye.